So I went to the cinema on Friday the 21st, to watch Snow White 2025. And I have to tell you, it is a mixed bag. Okay, this is not exactly a blockbuster. It's amazing, but it's also not a disaster either. So I'm going to break down my thoughts into some themes. Now, I think they were really trying to do something bold, something big, a huge reimagining, repurposing that IP, but I think it kind of fell short. Now, Disney, for context, went all out on this remake. They reimagined the classic in this modern live action style in a new way. They casted Rachel Zegler to be Snow White, and there was a huge budget behind it. But here's the thing, despite all the flashy visuals, despite the star power that they decided to bring, despite all the extensive production efforts, the film really didn't hit all the marks for me. It hit some, but to some degree, I felt like the story was trying too hard to be very progressive, as opposed to focusing more on the nostalgia. So that's where I felt like it lost some of the balance. So we need that nostalgia, and you can make it modern, but they didn't do a good job balancing the two. So as a result, it wasn't a big win for me. Now, what we get is an adequate movie. It's perfectly adequate. It has moments that are great, but it really doesn't give us that spark of excitement that really delivers the emotional punch that we expect from this movie, and also just Disney remakes in general. Now, I have to say, all the controversies surrounding the movie was a huge distraction. Because again, I was just very, very confused that even before people watched the movie, there was lots of negative things being said about it. I had posted a short. So if you're watching on YouTube Shorts, I shared a short sharing my quick take. I posted that also on TikTok, and immediately people are saying, this is going to be a flop. This is not good. Snow White is too woke, and just a whole list of things. So again, we're going to get into all the controversy. So I will have a separate video on that. If you're watching live, just continue watching. I will discuss this. One of the main things was the casting. So selecting Rachel Zegler as Snow White seemed to be a big problem. There is a trend online where people are saying Snow woke and Snow White is not white. So this has sparked a lot of fierce online debates. There is also another debacle in terms of the dwarves that were used. Okay, we have CGI dwarves. That was also another point of contention as well. So there were lots of things happening. So unfortunately, I feel the controversies are overshadowing the film. Okay, so instead of focusing on let's watch the movie, clear our minds and just approach it as is, I think all the controversies is overshadowing the film itself. And unfortunately, the drama off screen is pulling away from what the film, I feel, was trying to accomplish. So yes, watching the film, you might get some of those feelings from the classic. However, I think sometimes the negative chatter is going to make you watch the movie with a certain point of view. And you too, as a viewer, will be distracted. And as a result, you might find the film underwhelming. Okay. Now, we also have to talk about the behind the scenes with this movie, because again, as I've been digging, and now it has to be a part of my review, is just lots of production pains. Now, I have discovered that it had a lot of production setbacks from pandemic delays. There was a fire on set. They had to do some reshoots because of things with actors and health problems. And also, to be quite fair, I think some backlash online. They were reading some of the reviews or some of the memes and deciding, hey, I have an opinion on this. However, again, I want to just say on a film level, I got some charming elements. I got some nostalgic elements. I know the narrative is not the same. It might not completely captivate you, but for me, it really did a fair job there. So overall, kind of wrapping things up with my review, I will say Snow White was trying. Snow White 2025 was trying to give us those modern sensibilities with a nostalgic look back on the show we know and love. Because look, it's a classic fairy tale. So it's trying to bring us back to our childhoods when odds are that's when most of us interacted with Snow White for the first time. However, it was caught up between, trying to do this progressive messaging, but also keeping the traditional charm. And in a way, it just resulted in blah. So it wasn't good, in my opinion, but it wasn't bad. Snow White for me was just okay. I personally really, really enjoyed the Evil Queen. Okay. I thought the Evil Queen was fierce. I thought she was giving. I mean, I was here for it. I also love seeing the mirror, mirror on the wall, this new modern version of the mirror. I do have thoughts on the dwarves, and I will be talking more about that in the controversies as it relates to Snow White. But I loved also seeing the kingdom. Again, I'll be talking more about some of the differences between the original 1937 film and the present 2025 one. But overall, again, look, can we just forget everything that folks are saying online and just approach the movie with fresh eyes? I think that is the best way. It does give you political vibes, okay? There are political themes. Part of me is wondering, is this a metaphor for our current times? Again, I'd love for you to watch it and let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're watching live, I'd love to hear from you. So share your thoughts in the comments. But also, replay crew, I'd love to hear from you as well. So share your thoughts again in the comments.